I'm the lucky lady, joined by Myrtha's USA design team, and we're going to get into the nitty-gritty of kind of what they do. I mean, Alessandra Orio, Director of Design. I'm going to start with you. Tell us a bit about, a 360 overview of the Myrtha's USA design team.
I mean, the design team was really created back in Omaha in 2016, actually. So we are a team of engineers and architects who essentially take the specifications that come from an engineering and architectural firm and consolidate them into technical information for Italy to develop drawings around this. And essentially, we are responsible for that phase. That means translating a design input into a material output. Right. All of this in between, we're responsible for.
Perfect. And now I'm going to switch over to Katie Houston because you guys are working, of course, based in the U.S., across the U.S., and of course, there's a lot of synergy between us, as you guys, as well as HQ over in Italy. Can you tell us a bit about that? I mean, working through the time differences, working through other factors might be a little bit more of a challenge for not your typical day-to-day.
Yeah, I mean, I usually try to allot like that time first thing in the morning to make sure that we get anything coordinated with Italy that we can, and then we have the rest of the day to talk with clients and figure out what they're confused about or coordinating that way. And then so often we realize that like things in the US are always different than things all over the country. So it's us understanding what the specific design needs are here. We have some partners that help us with specific installations and like structural design, and then also like explaining that to Italy. They're like, oh, we understand why you guys are so crazy. We'll help you design that as well.
Yeah. So they're also able to adapt to you guys' needs because, of course, the metric system, for example, they're dealing with, in Italy, we're dealing with the rest of the world using one system, but of course having to adapt for the US. How does that, I mean, now it's probably you're getting more of a system with the guys, eh?
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, it seems like a silly problem to have. It's like, I was like, just like converting units. But yeah, something as simple as that, it helps to have somebody there that's like making sure, checking the correct conversions and all that, and just makes the conduit so much easier to work with.
Yeah. Okay, staying over with the ladies. Caitlin, tell us now how you, or not you, speak for the team, I guess, on how these things that Katie has just mentioned, how we're able to correlate that to our direct partners and the companies that we work with here across the US.
Yeah, sure. So I think one of the biggest challenges we face is what Katie was saying, the scheduling aspect.
Yeah.
So from the US perspective, a lot of times there's a lot of confusion, or maybe they don't understand why things take us so long to turn around. Design-wise, we're coordinating across 2 continents, and I think that's a unique, not problem, but a unique opportunity that we have. Yeah. But also, in addition to that, for on-site coordination with contracting partners, a lot of times, maybe a piece gets damaged or something, so we'll have to go on site and coordinate. Okay, we need X number of panels or parts, and we'll have to coordinate that back with our partners overseas. So communicating that ahead of time, that's a challenge that we face, but it's also a strength that we bring.
Exactly. Perfectly said. Okay, and I know I'm not actually with the full team today because we are missing Ryan Snyder, unfortunately, who wasn't able to join us today, but we'll go right into the last, but certainly not least, Joel. Let's talk about BIM, Revit, the kind of the technologies, I don't know if technologies, softwares that you guys are using. And
well, I mean, the biggest thing is most people don't want to feel like they're dealing with a manufacturer. They want to feel like they're dealing with a fellow architect, engineer. So we've built our processes around interfacing with architects around using the language and software that they use, rather than telling people like, hey, we have this internal software and it kicks out this stuff that you can't or don't want to use. So we use Revit, and we interface with architects exactly like maybe a subconsultant would do. Right. So they're very used to, we've adapted that to fit right into their process, and that's really helped. And then we have internal processes that take over. Once we get to that shop drawing level, we have a whole different internal process. But from the U.S. standpoint, we probably look and feel a lot like a sub-consultant more than a manufacturer to them.
Right. So more of a kind of what don't we do type
Right.
thing.
Yeah.
Perfect. Well, before I let you guys go, I wanted to end the interview or discussion with a fun fact, because a few years ago, we had a very interesting project come up in one side of the world, another one of our subsidiaries. And if I remember correctly, Myrtha USA had a similar type project in Miami. And we hosted our team from India and a couple of their architects and engineers who were working on this project. Can you tell us briefly about that experience, Alessandro?
For some reason, we have a lot of pools built in high-rise and
Yeah.
luxury condominiums, and this project, we can mention it, right? So
Yeah, no, of course.
it's the Intercontinental Hotel in Colombo, Sri Lanka. That building featured some of the pools that have specific characteristics and very similar to some of the pools that we have in Miami. So we had the landscape architect flying over from Singapore to Miami,
Yeah.
as well as the general contractor, to see what Myrtha is about, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's a perfect example of integration, right? So even though we operate in different countries, there is a common denominator to the technology that is being used, right?
Yeah.
And so being able to show with confidence what we do in the US helped really informing the team on what we do and who we are and how we deliver projects. And so the confidence in what we do grew to a point that allowed us to sign the contract.
Right. Great. So I'm going to end it there. Anyone else have anything further to add? Want to greet your mom or?
Well
Thanks
said.
for joining.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.